Hey guys, it is Jen Lefforge. Welcome to my channel. I am so glad you were here today because we have something really important to talk about. First of all, if you're new here, I'm Jen. I talk about Disney, I talk about running, I do some lifestyle stuff, some home stuff, some shopping stuff, and I hope that you will stick around, that you'll subscribe, that you'll like, and that you'll hang out here with us. So today we're going to talk about the Star Wars Half Marathon. I want to do a quick review. I want to talk about the expo. I'm going to talk about the race itself, and then also just overall the weekend, what I felt about it. Is this still my favorite Disney race or one of my favorite Disney races? I don't know, you'll have to wait to find out. But first I want to show you this little beauty. There she is. There is our Captain Phasma medal. I think it's just gorgeous. It's massively huge. I feel like the Disney medals just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So she will join 24 of her brothers and sisters that are hanging up on the back of my door here in my basement. And we had a great weekend, and as I go through, just know that, spoiler alert, we have already signed up with our DVC reservations for next year. So clearly I think this race is a fabulous idea and we had a great time, but I do want to give you some more information, especially if you are considering running the Star Wars The Dark Side Half Marathon, which next year will just be the Star Wars Half Marathon, and you choose if you're going to be dark side or light side, because as we know, the light side used to be at California at Disneyland, and they're no longer doing those races, so both will be combined. So first, let's talk about the expo. So if you are new to running any kind of a race, you should know that you usually have to go to an expo of some kind to pick up your race information, your t-shirt, your bib, and there's usually vendors there and lots of other fun stuff to just kind of set you up for success for your run. Run Disney does require that you show up in person. You cannot send someone else to pick up your bib and your t-shirt. So as they have done other years, they have things set up in a couple buildings with one slight change. You did go to the field house to get your bib. You then went to that other building, which I think is like the convention center area, for the regular expo and to get your t-shirt. And this is where they used to have everything. And then you went to the brand new building, and I'm so sorry I don't remember what it's called, but it just opened just a few months ago, to get the Run Disney official merchandise. I have to tell you, it was a breeze. Now granted, we were there Friday afternoon. I'm not sure what it was like when the expo first opened, but the volunteers were well informed. They knew what they were doing. It was very easy for us to figure out where we were supposed to go. We didn't wait in any lines, and I felt like separating out the Run Disney merchandise from the regular expo was a great call, because the regular expo then had a ton more room. Otterbox sponsored it, and I'll intersperse some pictures here as I'm talking about it, but they had some super fun photo ops with lightsabers and stormtrooper statues. They had Jabba the Hutt was out there, and we just had such a good time. We got some champagne, we walked around, we did a little shopping. My friend Hazel was able to get her leg taped up. They had a station where you could do that for free, which was great. And just a really good high quality expo. And then we headed over to the other building, which had the official Run Disney merchandise, and again, I mean, really, I felt like it was really well stocked. It's funny because you don't ever know what's sold out, but they did a really good job of replenishing. I'm gonna give the expo an A+. Well done, Disney. Probably the best run expo that I have been to, and I've been to some dog expos, the Dumbo Double Dare, for example, where we waited for hours in the sun. This was nothing like that. So thank you, Disney. You are learning all the time. Expo A+. Okay, now moving on to the race itself. Yay, it's the race. You get up at 2:30 in the morning and you get on a bus in the dark and you head out to a dark parking lot. Now in this case, we were in the parking lot of the Magic Kingdom. This race is a little different in that if you drive, you need to drive to Epcot to leave your car. Then a bus takes you to the Magic Kingdom parking lot, and then of course you'll be at your car when you finish the race. Now if you're staying on site like we were, you don't have to worry about it because they're gonna take you to the Magic Kingdom parking lot for the start, and then your bus will take you back to your resort from the Epcot parking lot at the end of the race. They also transferred everyone's drop bags, which always makes me a little nervous, but they had it down to a science, and our drop bags made it over to Epcot without any problem. We got there probably, I'm gonna say we got there at like 4 a.m. maybe. Well, yeah, it was probably 4 a.m. when we arrived at the starting area. Now this race is a little different than the half marathon or the princess race. You do not have to walk that 3/4 of a mile to get to the start. The corrals are actually right there, and that's one of my favorite things about this race. So we got some character pictures taken, we waited in line for a while, hit the porta potties a few times. I also thought that the porta potties were very well run. I know that seems like a silly thing, but they actually had cast members and they had just one long line, and they were sending people to the porta potty instead of, if you've not done it before, usually there's like line, and there's like say that 10 times fast. Four porta potties, and you kind of choose which one to go to, but you never really know which one am I supposed to do, and this way the cast members really kept it going, so I felt like even that was more efficient. Security was no problem. The atmosphere was great. They had great Star Wars music playing. They had movie clips playing. Super, super, super fun way to start the race. Then of course the race announcers do their things, and we were off. The first 5-ish or so miles was just a wide road, although they did have a super fun like Ewok stormtrooper battle going on with actual fire off in the forest. I seriously thought we were having some sort of an emergency until I realized it was part of the show. So that was, I mean, first class, amazing all the way. Great job, Disney. So much fun. Made you run a little bit faster. And then you got to Animal Kingdom. Now, I can't remember if this was on the way to Animal Kingdom or if it was in between Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. So if you know, if you would comment. There was unfortunately a sewage treatment plant. Now, I have passed this plant before. In the full marathon. It smelled 10 times worse. And I don't know what that was about, but that was horrible. Like there was a volunteer, bless his heart. If you were stationed right there by that sewage treatment plant, oh my goodness, I bow to you, because I cannot imagine how horrible that must have been. I couldn't stand, I was gagging for the 10 minutes that coming up on it and then leaving it. If you were there permanently, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for your service. But really on the way out, it's wide roads, not crowded at all. It does get a little crowded as you come into Animal Kingdom, as you would expect. But then, and this was new this year, obviously, we ran through Pandora, you guys. Oh my God, it was so cool. I kind of wished we'd run a little faster, and we could have been there when it was a little darker. But the water features and some of the lights were on, and it was just magical. It was so awesome. We ran across, you know, that really long bridge that you run across. I'm trying to think which part of the park, but we ran across the big long bridge that connects Avatar to the rest of Animal Kingdom. And that was very cool. And just coming up on it and the signage and all of that. I mean, that whole time is kind of a blur, but I remember thinking this is amazingly cool. Once you leave Animal Kingdom, again, you're out on the roads for a bit. There's not a lot of hills in this race. There's actually fewer than if you run the January half marathon or the Princess. There are fewer hills. I think there's only 2. So then we leave there, we're on the road for another like 5-ish miles, and then poof, you're in Hollywood Studios. We were only in Hollywood Studios for like a nanosecond, literally just ran up. I always get Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard confused, but I think it's Hollywood, or it's Sunset Boulevard that you come up from Tower of Terror, and then we ran toward the entrance and then out of the park. So not long at all, but super enthusiastic, and everyone was super happy to be there. Lots of great spectators during that time. Then we exited the park and we followed that path along the water and then past the Yacht Club and Beach Club and then into World Showcase, and we were done. So it was other than the sewage treatment plant, it was the most fun I've ever had on a course. There were so many character stops. We counted, we think between the cosplay and the Disney official stops, we stopped 13 times for pictures, which would account for our very slow finish time, but who cares? My friend Kirsten says, we PR'd in fun. So that's right, we PR'd in fun. There were Ewoks And I really am curious to know, they had to have been little people. They either were children or they were little people that were wearing the Ewok costumes, because that blew my mind. We did not wait in the Ewok line because it was really, really long. But we did wait in a couple of the other fun character stops. The cosplay people, you guys, oh my God, they were so amazing. And usually the lines weren't long and they were great and interacting with everybody. And we just had such a great time. So the course gets from me an A. I would give it an A+ except for the sewage treatment plant. And honestly, Disney, it's not your fault. I don't know what anybody could do about that. But the course I felt like was really great. I felt like the corrals were spaced well. There was only a couple of places where it was really crowded. I don't ever remember really thinking about how crowded it was, which is something in a Disney race. The water stops were spaced well. Of course, the volunteers always were amazing. And it was just a fabulous race. So definitely an A on the race itself. Okay, now let's move on to the weekend in general. So crowd-wise, I think this is a great time to have a race. Weather-wise, it's a little iffy. Now, we did not have high temperatures, so that was a huge blessing. We did, however, have high humidity. That is to be expected in Florida this time of year. It does not deter me from this race, but if you don't run in a super humid place, and y'all, I train in Georgia, so I know some humidity, it will affect your pace. It's just the way it is, especially since it's early in the spring. Most of us hadn't really acclimated yet. The humidity is gonna slow you down. So I think you need to walk into any Run Disney weekend, but in particular this one, understanding that the weather may not be in your favor to have your best time. So it was a little bit muggy and we were pretty much drenched. There's a picture, I'll see if I can find it and put it in there, but you can see my ponytail is literally looks like I just washed my hair. Ugh. So anyway, we were a little ripe when we were done with the race, but you know what? At some point you're at Disney and it's magical and you're having such a great time. The crowds were not bad. Yes, it is springtime at Disney and yes, it was crowded, but we utilized our fast pass. We kind of knew what we were doing. We didn't have a lot of pressure on us to get a ton of stuff done. And it was just a really, really nice weekend. So Run Disney, really well done. I'll do another video where I will talk about staying at Old Key West and kind of was that a good choice for a race weekend. And some of the other, I want to do one about the restaurants where we ate. But for the race itself, is this still my favorite Run Disney event? Yes. Now, marathon weekend, in fact, I'm wearing my 20th anniversary marathon necklace, is my favorite, but this still has a very special place in my heart. And if it's your first Run Disney race, highly, highly, highly recommend it. And I already can't wait till next year. So please subscribe, like, comment, ask me any questions you might have. I've literally run dozens of Disney races. So if you have a question, either I know the answer or I know someone that does. And thank you so much for your time and thanks for watching. And I hope you have a fantastic day.